You may have recently, in the last couple of days, started seeing a whole bunch of headlines, a bunch of news reports indicating that Google is working on not just another new Pixel of any sort, but in fact a Pixel 7 Ultra, something that would be a step above the lovely Pixel 7 Pro that I am still in the process of formulating my thoughts on for a full review. Now, what would a Pixel 7 Ultra potentially look like? Well, a lot of these headlines have had one thing to say, one sort of salacious claim to make in the headline, to grab your attention, to make you click on the article, and to read a bit further. And that claim is that the Google Pixel 7 Ultra, or Pixel Ultra, whatever it may actually be called, if it actually does even exist, will have a 1-inch sensor for the camera. Now, this would be a big potential upgrade over what we have now, which is the Samsung GN1. It is a smaller than 1-inch sensor. I don't remember the actual measurements. It's a rather large 50 megapixel sensor, but it's nowhere near a full 1-inch sensor. So this would put it into the realm of some of these gigantic sensor carrying Sony phones, and Xiaomi's got one. Few companies have done this now at this point. So this, like I said, would just be on a hardware front a really, really big spec bump. But is this actually true? Let's take a moment and look at where they're getting this information from, because it's actually just from one single solitary tweet, and I think there's good reason to think that it's not actually going to be true. So let's look at this first. This is from Ice Universe, who has leaked a lot of stuff over the years and has gotten a lot of stuff right, but I got to point out they've gotten some stuff wrong too. And I think that they're wrong on this tweet. It is said that Google Pixel Ultra is under development and is expected to adopt 1-inch sensor. Samsung is about to become blah, 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 blah. Okay, so Pixel Ultra with a 1-inch sensor. Now, they don't give any sort of sources or data behind it. However, we can look at other things. This individual here, Kuba, and I am not even going to attempt to sully their good name by letting it leave my mouth. They've been digging into actual source codes and breaking down camera apps from Google and finding data in here. So in the Pixel 7 source code, they found some more information that lines up with stuff they've seen in the past, and it flies counter to what Ice Universe is saying. Let's scroll down here and look at this. I believe this is the tweet that is most important. The mysterious Lynx L10, which shows up in the source code, Lynx should be the Pixel Ultra, because we have everything else accounted for. All the other code names are sort of already associated with another device, so we know what this thing actually is. Okay, so the Lynx is like the odd man out, thinking it's the Pixel Ultra that's being rumored. When this individual breaks down these bits of code, this is what they came up with. A GN1, an IMX787, and an IMX712. Well, that GN1 is the same primary sensor that we already have on the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 7. That is on a 1-inch sensor. Now, it's important also to mention here, just for context, that the IMX787, if you Google it and you look for devices that it is in, every instance of it is a 64 megapixel sensor. Now, this is likely to be for the telephoto, which would actually point towards a really potentially impressive telephoto lens setup. Now, is it going to be a periscope? I would think that it would have to be. So I think that's where the Ultra is going to come from. Is it not necessarily the primary sensor is going to be better, but they're going to push that periscope telephoto to the moon, if you will. The IMX712 is obviously an ultra wide, and then on the front they're going to use the same sensor, so the lens is what's going to kind of determine the ultra wideness, but you can put a slightly more narrow ultra wide on the cover display and have the ability, like on the Pixels in the past, to have a wider FOV on your selfie camera to get more people in your selfie. So pretty strong camera setup. It sounds really similar to what we already have on the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro, but with a potentially upgraded telephoto setup. Now, I also want to point out here that this individual, Digital Chat Station, posted on Weibo quite a while ago this post about not just the Pixel Ultra, but also their upcoming rumored folding phone. And they also indicated a 50 megapixel sensor, likely to just be that GN1. So what do we have now? We have two different pretty reliable sources saying it's going to be the 50 megapixel GN1, and then we have one source saying it is a 1-inch sensor, and they've been wrong about some stuff in the past. And so far, Digital Chat Station, in the time I've been watching them, has been dead on as has Kuba, I guess is how you would say that first name. They seem to have been dead on with the stuff they've been pulling out of source code and the camera apps. You can't really, it's hard to get that stuff wrong, right? They're pulling it straight out of Google's actual software. So that's kind of the point of this video, is that I want to just kind of pump the brakes on this with these other rumors. And there's also another, good reason to think this is probably not going to happen. Why would Google, who relies so heavily on software optimization, AI optimization for their photography, why would they want to have a third device with a different primary sensor? They wouldn't. They use the same 12.2, I think, megapixel, let's just say 12 megapixel sensor for about 137 years on all their devices, and they kept things very consistent that way. They're not going to want to have a 6, a 6 Pro, a 7 Pro, all with the same GN1, and then a Pixel Ultra with a completely different primary sensor whose image processing is going to need an entirely different setup. Maybe they will. I just don't see that being a thing that Google is going to do. They like to keep things very, very consistent, and this would be diverging from this, especially if it's got the 1-inch sensor and a new telephoto as well. That would be a lot of differences, and personally, I would worry that the processing would actually be worse, because we've seen on the Pixel 6, the processing's gotten a bit better. On the 7, it's improved a bit more. They're getting their algorithms worked out on this new sensor. We don't want to start over again. There's really not a good reason to anyway. So lots of reasons here to pump the brakes on the 1-inch sensor rumors. I don't think that's actually going to be a thing that's going to happen. One, it's not logical. And two, there are 2 sources saying that it's not going to happen versus one that says that it is. And I trust the 2 that says it's not more than the one that says it is. Guys, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you on the next video, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.